Hey everyone, my guest today is Paul Darling. Paul is both father and son of combat veterans and a retired infantryman. He is the host of War 102 podcast, a real plastic hero, and, like many others, someone who has lost too many friends, comrades, and even his own son to suicide. Paul is hoping to improve the lives of veterans and men in particular by joining in the search for meaningful purpose in the modern world. Welcome to the show, Paul. I want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Yeah. Would you be able to tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your podcast and anything else you're working on?
Sure. So my name is Paul Darling. I'm a retired soldier. Served about 27 years, and I do a podcast to share what I learned in my professional military education to give the non-military professional kind of a baseline to think about and to understand war and conflict. I think one of the problems is we delegate thinking about war to general officers, to politicians. To the former, their greatest accomplishment is becoming a general officer while losing a 20-year war to illiterate goat herders. So I'm not sure that appeal to authority or delegation of thinking is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And as for politicians, they're even worse. So I wanted to give a basic education in strategy, in theory, doctrine of warfare, so they could evaluate and adjudicate how the U.S. military and our nation goes forth and does war. So we're not blindly just looking at things and going, well, I guess they know what they're doing, or blindly criticizing them without understanding the challenges. It goes both ways.
Right.
So that's my podcast. I'm a published author through the University Press of Kansas. And I recently became involved with something called Real Plastic Heroes, which is a passion project from a friend of mine, an acquaintance of mine, where he took 8 global war and terrorism GWAT veterans and modeled modern renditions of toy soldiers. They're a really well-made product, 100% made in America. The artist is American. The machine molds are American, and the plastic injection molding is done in America. I almost had to recreate that technology because it's dominated by overseas. So I'd ask anyone to check out Real Plastic Heroes. I think I haven't seen the new Toy Story. My kids are a little old for that. They're all out of the house.
Yeah.
But apparently it's a call for more tactile, real toys instead of electronics. And so if you're interested in getting your kids off of electronics and role playing with action figures, to check it out.
Yeah. That's, it is interesting how toys and stuff have changed. I remember kind of playing video games when I was little, but I didn't play with soldiers, but I also played like with these little figurines or whatever. And I always liked to, what was that called? Littlest Pet Shop maybe, or something like that. But just, figurines that you can use your imagination and kind of create your own scenarios. And so that's really cool, especially having it made in America. All right. So we had previously discussed, everyone seems to be skipping over Pete Hegseth for the 2028 presidential nominee. And I want to hear your opinion on that, because when you had brought it up, I had never even thought of him, but I almost think I hadn't thought of him just because no one had said it before.
So you have like Calci, the betting things, the odds makers, they list like 20 different people. Pete Hegseth's name's nowhere in there. I think they're sleeping on him deliberately. I think first and foremost, because Hegseth has made absolutely no indication whatsoever he wants the job, which for me is the number one qualification.
Yeah.
And there's a couple, first off, in the military, you have courses of action. And one of the ways that you evaluate a course of action, is it viable? Like, so if you look at someone to carry on the MAGA mantle, who are the people who meet the criteria for being a presidential candidate? And tragically, in our superficial world, you got to look the part. Stephen Miller is, absolutely a Trump guy through and through. but he just doesn't look the part. You
Right.
can't see Stephen Miller carrying the mantle of the president and as a representative, which is unfortunate. I don't think there's anything disqualifying him
Mhm.
from, outside of just, do you look the part? And there's no question Pete Hegseth looks the
Yeah.
part. I'm not
Yeah.
gay, but I can see where it comes from. Okay.
He's very
he
nice to look at.
he's a good looking man, and he is
Mhm.
all man. So I think he
Yep.
fills that role very well. He looks presidential.
Yeah.
And so beyond just that, he has the academic qualifications, Princeton and Harvard.
Mhm.
What more do you want? Obviously, he
Right.
has veteran creds. He's a combat infantryman. He actually fought. He wasn't just, someone in the rear. And it's not to denigrate those who served but didn't see frontline combat, but he's a combat infantryman.
Right.
And from my perspective, he was a guy who went out of his way to get into combat. He didn't sign up for the college. He signed up and he chased. He went
Mhm.
from state to state to try to get overseas, to try to deploy, to try to get into combat. I have a lot of respect for that. But
Yeah.
the most important thing for me is a concern over people who will say what needs to be said at the moment to gain political power. The Republican Party specifically has had a really bad track history of saddling good presidents with lousy vice presidents.
Yeah.
So, who was the last vice president that you can think of under the Republican banner who really turned out to be a good standard bearer? And I think Nixon is
Mhm.
slowly getting resurrected in the public mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so Nixon to Eisenhower. But then you look, you had Rockefeller, you had Ford, Bush.
Mhm.
But and people forget that H.W. Bush was a CIA director who was deliberately put on the Reagan ticket to undermine Reagan. He was Reagan's primary opponent in 1980. He's the one who came up with the term voodoo economics. And as soon as he got
Uh-huh.
into power, he abandoned everything that Reagan was all about. And then, you had nominees like Dole. He
Right.
was horrible. And then you had, Mitt Romney and John
Yeah.
McCain and the Bushes. And then you look at, Cheney and things like that. So the fact that someone is a vice president to a good president does nothing for me. In fact, it fills me with a bit of ire. And
Mhm.
you look at the top names who are out there. You look at Vance, you look at Rubio, you look at, say, DeSantis, right?
Mhm.
All of them ran against Trump and did not
Right.
support him. Vance, called him the new Hitler. Not only did he attack Trump personally, which, okay, I get it. I supported Trump, voted for him every time.
Mhm.
I'd like to think I got on the Trump train pretty early, but
Yeah.
you didn't mean you had to attack, people attacked him personally.
Right.
And I get the distrust in 2016, like Trump, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
But Vance attacked his agenda. And he said in writing in an article to The Atlantic, which makes you wonder why anyone who is getting published by The Atlantic would be a good Republican in 2016.
That's a good point.
He called
Yeah.
his policies ranging from the immoral to the absurd. He
Mhm.
attacked MAGA. He didn't just attack Trump. He attacked his entire platform, which is the whole reason to support Trump. And
Yeah.
then he voted for the CIA agent in 2016.
Mhm.
And continued bashing Trump even after the election until he decided he wanted to be a senator from Ohio, a state which Trump took by 10 points.
Yeah.
And then suddenly he's all different. It's like, and then here you have the Yale Law tech bro, Hollywood movie guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I was fooled by the media.
Yeah,
What
that's kinda
real
hard.
conservative in 2016 didn't know the media was full of it?
Right.
So
Right.
I don't think Vance is stupid. If he was stupid, I'd be more forgiving.
Yeah.
And, some guy from the sticks goes to Ohio State and studies poli-sci and gets into Yale Law. You don't get
Yeah.
into Yale Law because your LSATs were cranking. You get
Right.
into Yale Law because you're useful to the machine. And then, so he's a poli-sci major with a Yale Law degree, and he becomes a tech bro. And in
Mhm.
5 years, pockets tens of millions of dollars. He was hand carried by someone or something called the Blob to
Yeah.
every stage of his life. He got the Hollywood movie. He got the book. My daughter went to an incredibly liberal arts, very, very, very progressive liberal arts school, Emerson in Boston.
Okay.
She had to read his book in college.
Okay.
Conservatives aren't mandatory reading in any university, much less Emerson. So I don't trust Vance one bit, and I don't have a reason to.
That's a really good point, because seeing how much the hatred towards conservatives has increased since 2016 or a little before then, I was actually wondering how he did get that movie deal, and no one seems to be upset about it either.
Or why he goes on The View and Joy Behar talks about what a great presidential candidate he'd be.
Right.
I've seen this glazing before. They did it with Romney. They did it with McCain. They did it with Bush. I've heard this band play before, and I hate to attack the man on a personal level, but he says, well, I found God. I became a Catholic. I'm not a Catholic. I'm not a particularly religious man. I am a man of faith, but I don't really identify with a particular religion at this point.
Yeah, same.
But the one thing I do know about Catholics is they baptize their children, which Vance has not.
And Usha's not a
Christian,
she's Hindu. Correct?
No, she's still Hindu. So I don't, it seems like a fine family and everything. Yeah. But even his faith, I have to question to a certain degree, because if you're a Catholic, your children are baptized. That's a core tenet of the faith. And to abandon that and say, well, it's up to the children when they get older, that's not Catholicism.
Right.
It's a nice gesture, but it's not a true believing Catholic.
They believe they'll go to hell if they're not baptized, correct?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You would want to baptize as soon as possible if you believe that.
I don't think it violates any aspect of the Hindu faith.
Right.
To baptize someone. But I don't know. I'm not an expert. And it just, there are so many things that are so convenient that are that just betray any aspect of actually being faithful to Donald Trump's position. I hesitate to call it conservative. MAGA is its own thing. And I think MAGA is, by and large, I have some quibbles here and there, but by and large, his policies were the correct ones. That's why he won. He didn't win because of a cult of personality or because people liked how he talked. He drives everyone crazy how he talks. Yeah. Mostly his supporters. It's like, could you stop talking like a Queen's guy? But that's who he is. But it was his policies that brought him victory, because he was willing to talk about the things. And that brings us to Rubio. Rubio's a career politician, and he will always be part of the gang of 8 for Republicans, for Democrats, who supported mass amnesty. Rubio was the young Republican supporter of mass amnesty for illegal aliens. And I think his Republican buddies in that were Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, and I forget the fourth. And then, of course, for Democrats, Chuck Schumer and whoever. So he united to make it a public policy of mass amnesty for illegals. Now, Vance and Rubio are very smart, skilled, articulate politicians, but they're subordinate to Trump's vision. Thank God. Yeah. I cannot trust either of those to follow on in that tradition once they have the ultimate power of the presidency.
Yeah. That's in what we need. And I've been thinking about this for a long time. We need someone who's going to we need 2 more terms of Trump, or stronger. And I don't know if, I guess I just don't know enough about Vance to know if he's actually going to do all those things.
There's no reason to think that he would. And I guess if a Yale law tech bro, genius, millionaire, Hollywood movie, New York Times bestseller in 2016 couldn't look at Trump's positions, couldn't look at MAGA and go, there's a lot of good things in there. I don't trust Trump. If you just said, I don't trust Trump, but attacking Trump's platform is what really makes me pause. Yeah. I don't think Trump or Rubio's a mass amnesty advocate. The heart of MAGA is, deport them all. Yeah. Right. And that's not, it's certainly not Rubio's core belief. He started off as a mass amnesty guy. as the kinder, gentler Republican. And we've gone through this time and again. And then you look at John Roberts on the Supreme Court. You look at Souter, you look at how many times, how critical the Supreme Court is. And I'm disappointed in the Federalist Society's picks. Trump delegated his Supreme Court justices to the Federalist Society. And by and large, I don't see another Thomas. I don't see another Alito or Scalia.
Right.
The Federalist Society has failed in really bringing forth rock solid constitutionalists. They brought forth libertarians. I'll take it over a Ketanji Jackson Brown.
Right.
But, we have birthright citizenship because Amy Coney Barrett decided, oh, well, I want to be nice. I'm the anti-abortion nice girl.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. So
yes. Yeah.
Then
that
who
just
we're
makes
left
me
with?
so mad.
So those are the two big ones. Then you have Ron DeSantis. I think he's like Scott Walker, kind of peaked a little early.
Yeah.
And he went. So, and really what it was is a lot of these candidates in 2020 were like, well, Trump's under a lot of pressure. We better have a back. He's, Biden's DOJ was going after him. He was in trial in New York. There's like, no way this guy gets it. So these guys are, instead of supporting Trump wholeheartedly and saying, Trump is our best candidate, I don't care what he's going through, we support him. They went against him.
Yeah.
And of the people we're talking about who has one, just the raw physical, mental capabilities to be a president, and unquestionably supported him at his lowest ebb and early in his campaign, Hegseth's the only guy out there, unless there's someone else. I can't think of any governor that's made a real impact. I'm from Tennessee. Bill Lee is pretty milquetoast.
Yeah, I don't hear much about him.
Yeah, I mean, and I like Ron DeSantis, what he did in Florida. He took a lot of bold stands, but I don't want someone carrying on MAGA who wasn't 100% behind Trump every step of the way.
Yeah. Ron DeSantis' campaign, the entirety of it was a little bit weird because I think he probably had different people running his campaign and did not have Trump as competition, I think he probably could have, pulled it off possibly. But whoever was running his campaign, it made him with those boots, do you remember his boots? It made him look a little bit like a joke. And it's like, but he's I think he's probably my favorite state governor out of, if I had to pick one. He's doing amazing things in Florida.
Absolutely. I am very, very impressed with what he has done with Florida.
Yeah.
He has delivered what that state wanted, and that state has thrived. He's taken some really bold stances, and I respect that. But that doesn't mean he's ready to be president, certainly. And again, if you were challenging Trump, you're not the right guy to carry on MAGA.
Yeah.
And so I'll go on to keep glazing my fellow National Guard infantry officer. Hegseth. The guy has been through the ringer. They went after him hard. He is hated by all the right people.
Yeah.
So, and I'll be a little bit disparaging to the fairer sex. I think, so who are the undecided swing voters? They're white women, generally married white women. I think Hegseth pulls a lot of those in.
I would say so.
He doesn't give off creepy vibes. He gives off stud vibes.
Yeah.
And he's got a fantastic family. I mean, he's got a sordid past.
Right.
But, this is his third marriage, but it looks like third time's a charm. And after Trump, 3 marriages might be an endorsement rather than an indictment. Are we going to look at Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton's marriage as, well, they never got divorced. It must be a perfect marriage.
Right.
Hegseth's got like 4 or 5 kids. I mean, dude, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing it because no one's talking about it.
Yeah.
And I hate to think he's being slept on. I don't know. I won't ask your age. I'll assume you're a bit younger than I am.
Okay.
I remember Fred Thompson in 1996 running for president. He was an actor, a lawyer from Tennessee. Something like that. He was a lawyer. He was in The Hunt for Red October.
Okay.
He played the admiral on the aircraft carrier.
Okay.
He did a number of roles. Very magnificent voice. Tall, imposing, very genteel Southern manners. I was a huge fan. And the Republican Party machine just failed to support him and saddled us with, an octogenarian in Dole who
Uh-huh.
just got so crushed by a really wounded Bill Clinton. It wasn't
Okay.
even,
Yeah.
yeah. So the
I remember.
fortunate thing is
Uh-huh.
Trump is the kingmaker. Trump will choose his successor in the primary.
Yeah.
One, he's
Yeah.
earned it, and two, he just simply has the power. So
Yeah.
the nominee is not dependent upon the support of the Republican machine.
Mm.
The nominee needs one thing: for Donald Trump to say, I endorse this man for president. And that's what everyone's waiting for
Yeah.
him to do, and he refuses to do it for good reason.
Right. Right.
One, he doesn't want to appoint someone as a successor, which would undermine him being in the limelight.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Of
Trump's
course. Yeah.
ego it's up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm first. I don't know why Hegseth's name's not in there. I think he's got all the tools. I think he's been through the ringer in the nomination process. He's hated by all the right people.
Yeah.
And, great family, war hero, Princeton,
Yeah.
can bench press 315. I don't know. What are we looking for here?
I know. Well, first off, I've been wondering who makes these call sheet bet things, because sometimes I'll look at them and I'm like, well, I like to do the what will Trump say this month? What will, type thing. And I'm like, well, I know he's going to say certain things and they're not an option on there. So I kind of wonder who's making those. But I also wonder if I just feel like there's so much going on secretly that we don't know about. Like, could they be lining people up, for other positions in the future, or yeah, purposely sleeping on Hegseth so that, like maybe just quietly preparing for a campaign run, and then just really hit the gun running with or however that that phrase is.
Well, so obviously Vance is running. That's why he released yet another,
Book.
him and Obama. He just can't get enough of his own autobiographies out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really, dude? Your second autobiography?
Congrats.
Congrats.
I think he's a year younger than me, which is insane. Like, I haven't even thought about it.
Yeah. So, Gen X is just getting blown out of politics. They're going boomers straight to millennials. Gen X never cared enough to run for president. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, I liked him at first, and lately I feel like he's kind of ruining his chances for presidency. And
what killed him, absolutely slayed him, and I'm shocked he even became governor, was when he said, well, Americans are being replaced by superior cultures. People don't trust Indians right off the bat, who's worked with them. And when Vivek said, oh, well, of course we're doing better. We're better than you. Indians are better than Americans, is essentially what he said.
Right.
And that was like the fall of the reputation of Indians in America is one of the quickest. They're just despised now in so many circles. Whereas before they were seen as like the model immigrant.
Right.
And then they reached kind of a critical mass. And then they noticed that, hey, every time there's an Indian CEO, all the Americans get laid off and they bring in a bunch of H-1Bs.
Yeah.
And people are going to Costco. It's all Indian. People go to a motel. It's all Indians. They go to it's like, what, Americans can't run a 7-Eleven or a Motel 8? Like, what is this superior culture they're bringing in that allows them to dispense Slurpees better than everyone else?
Right.
So I think Vivek's dead. And I think he's killed Indian politicians on the conservative side for the foreseeable future. That was just an incredibly stupid statement. And when people start digging into how he made his millions, he scammed that. So I was with you. I'm like, he's saying he was the one guy in 2020 who's like, look, Trump should be the nominee. I'm simply running in case it doesn't work out. But I am firmly behind everything Trump is about, except when it comes to H-1Bs. I'm going to import 100 million of them if I can.
Right.
And so I don't even think Vivek's in the conversation anymore. That one comment just betrayed everything that he had built up. It was a colossal error.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's been a few other things that I'm just like, oh man. And I hate to see him do it. Like I saw him in Iowa. I'm from a real small town in Iowa. And so he stopped at like 11 places in Iowa that day, and there was also a school shooting the same day. And so by the time, I think ours was his last stop, and he took the time to meet everybody, and he was exhausted. He had a sick kid, and it's like he really, really was trying. So I hate to see him dig his own grave, but then it's like, well, if this is how you really feel, I don't want to vote for you.
No, he incredibly well spoken, very
Hmm.
intelligent, obviously put in the work to get where he was. He kind of came out of nowhere, but he made
Yeah.
his fortune on a scam, which kind of
Hmm.
tweaks me a little bit. But part of me is like, who hasn't? But
Right.
when he made that comment about cultures and whatnot, it's like, nope, sorry, dude.
Yeah.
And just Democrat voters get what they think they're going to get.
Yep. Yeah.
Republican voters, you'll vote and you're like, oh, he's a communist.
Yeah.
Lindsey Graham. I don't know what I'm getting out of Lindsey Graham. I don't know what,
Right.
Bush, Romney, McCain, just a constant litany of Democrat lights as Republican
Yeah.
nominees. So that's going back to Hegseth. He's the only dude who I can think of who hasn't stepped on his conservative crank, pardon the expression, at some point in his nascent career.
Yeah. And we need tough right now, because America's getting so weak. I mean, we need to be fighting for our country. All these people, they want to come here and then complain and want to change it. And it's like, no, you came here for a reason, and we
To
need to
change it.
stick with that.
They came here to change
right.
it.
Yeah.
Mamdani. I mean, let's be honest.
Oh, gosh.
Replacement isn't a theory anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's replacement strategy. So
Yeah.
Mamdani is the personification of that. There's a reason the foreign-borns in Congress are 80, 90% Democrats.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was something I was thinking about a lot this morning, actually. Part of me wants to be like, all right, New York City, you got what you voted for. So have fun with that, and then it's like, okay, but this needs to not happen again. I really hope that people see this as a lesson, and think a little bit more, do a little bit more research before voting for people.
Well, like I said, I don't, it's always weird. I just don't think there's that many undecideds.
Yeah.
And I think what you do is you motivate people to vote.
Mhm.
So in 2016, I said at the beginning, I will not vote for Jeb Bush. And he was going to be the nominee. Everyone saw it.
Yeah.
Everybody saw Jeb Bush was rolling to the nomination. It was going to be Bush v. Clinton. And Bush was going to roll over and hand it over to Hillary. And it was going to be historic and majestic. And Trump came in and just dropped a turd in the punch bowl, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
You nominate another guy like Jeb Bush, and Republicans are going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
You need someone who is hated by the right people that motivates them. I think Hegseth's that guy. Obviously, like I said, I'm glazing all over him. But
well, so you've kind of made me think about how I voted. So Trump is actually the first Republican I voted for. I was a Democrat until, yeah, don't judge me. But Fred Thompson, did he run again?
No.
He didn't, because I don't know who I'm thinking of that was in Law and Order that was running the same.
Fred Thompson. He was a senator. He ran.
Thompson?
Yeah, he ran for other. He was a senator from Tennessee. He ran for different elections in different ways, but I'm pretty sure 96 was the only year he ran for president.
Okay. I just remember I was a waitress already. So was it like 2008? That I swear he came to our town for some political thing. But anyways, yeah, going back to 2008, I remember President Trump weighing in on Obama, weighing in on politics and everything. And so yeah, I was a Democrat, moved to Austin, Texas, and marched in pride parades. Are you there?
No, my son went to UT Austin.
The Longhorns.
My daughter-in-law and my granddaughter are in Austin, so I try to get there whenever I can.
Yeah, my brother lives there now, so we're there at least once a year. But so I moved down there a Democrat, and that's the perfect place to go if you're a Democrat. But actually, it turned me Republican. Seeing, like back then, the pride parades were not full of naked people. and stuff like that. And I was so happy to march in the in the pride parade with my friends. And but seeing that, I would just get judged for not being hardcore liberal enough. And it's like, well, I accept you for all of these things, but you don't accept me. And it really got me thinking. And then also seeing the impact of immigration down there. I would have friends who could get their student visas renewed, but not their work visas. So then they would have to work under the table. So you start to see the cracks in the system, I guess. And so I'd moved back to Iowa before Trump came down the escalator and announced. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be so fun. Him running. And I totally was going to vote for Hillary. And then he was saying everything that I wanted to hear, just reflecting everything that I had been thinking with my move from conservative Iowa to liberal Austin, Texas, back to Iowa. And seeing how I was treated as a white person in a poor neighborhood in Austin, where like everyone just assumed I had money and I was just broke as everybody else, and just had a lot of feelings. And basically, Trump is what turned me Republican. But back to your point, what candidates did we have? We had McCain, who ran with Sarah Palin, who made females look unintelligent. My thing is, if you're a female, I want you to be smart. I don't want you to be a ditz.
So here's the thing. I met Sarah Palin several times. I lived in Alaska for 9 years.
Okay.
She's actually a lot of people never saw Sarah Palin. They saw a caricature on Saturday Night Live. She was absolutely crushed by the media. If you actually listen to Sarah Palin, she's a very intelligent, well-spoken, down-to-earth. She is the feminist dream, if you really want it.
Really?
She was a mom. Her husband was a stud who worked, just a blue-collar guy. She was a stay-at-home mom. And she was upset with, she came from Wasilla.
Okay.
And she wasn't happy with how things were going in Wasilla, which is a tiny little town in the Matatusca Valley.
Yeah.
And so she won like mayor of Wasilla, and then she did very well. And then she became governor of Alaska, and she did very well.
Yeah.
Like I said, met her several times, listened to her speak in small settings and whatnot. Alaska's a small state, and being in the Guard, you get exposure to politicians more than you would normally. How she was lampooned and caricatured. And then people are like, oh, I can see Russia from my house. Okay, she never said that. And what she said was very accurate and as governor, so we have an island in Alaska called Diomede. There's Little Diomede and Big Diomede.
Okay.
And they're two islands. They're a couple miles apart. One's Russian and one's Alaskan. And we have a National Guard armory base on Little Diomede, which is the American side. And she went there and she's like, wow, I mean, you can see. So they were questioning her foreign policy credentials. She's like, we're miles away from Russia. In Alaska, we have to deal with international affairs. We have the Arctic Circle. We have all sorts of things. We share a border with Canada, not with the contiguous United States. So they attacked her on, well, you're governor, you don't know anything about foreign policy. Well, Alaska uniquely has to be conversant on foreign policy because they're isolated from the United States and they border Canada and Norway through the Arctic Circle and of course Russia. And then it's like, I can see Russia from my house.
Yeah. Well, and I was consuming all of this information as a Democrat. So then, that's cool to hear. I mean, that's sad though, but I do think that's probably a battle most females do have to face is the media is going to tear them apart in different ways to make them look stupid.
Well, they'll tear apart ones they don't like.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris is much more an idiot than Sarah Palin is.
Yeah.
I agree. If you want to talk about verbal gaffes, I won't say Hillary Clinton is an idiot. She's a smart woman, but she's not an idiot. But Kamala Harris is an idiot.
Yeah.
You listen to her talk. She's like, no. And then, they just glossed over that. And look, I get voting for Obama in 2008. He ran on the promise of, I will heal the racial divide in America. That's an right. And what else were we worried about in 2008?
Right.
War in Afghanistan, Iraq. No one really cared about that. It's like, hey, we will get past race. Elect me and the whole racial antagonism, black and white living together, will be a healed nation. And as
Mm-hmm.
soon, and I got the attraction, I saw through the bullshit.
Yeah. I
And
wish I would have.
well, so where do you get this information other than my podcast, War 102 podcast, available everywhere, to see through these things? Because, you have
Mm-hmm.
to look at the person's past, not what they say in the present.
Yeah.
You look at Obama's past, and this guy's a Marxist.
Yeah.
Everything he's done is indicated he hates America, and then he runs and he says all these things, and there is a certain sexual demographic that finds history boring in many
Mm-hmm.
regards and runs
Yeah.
on intuition and feelings
Yeah.
rather than facts.
Yeah.
Women's intuition is a real thing, but it can blind people to
Yeah.
the facts. You see something, you like them, they're attractive, they're articulate, they're saying what you want to hear. And that, I think that's why
Mm-hmm.
married white women are about the only significant swing voter in America
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I just think that too, like you were saying, is that our choices in the past have not been great. And
Oh,
that I do
they were
wonder.
shoved down our throats. The
Yeah.
parties. Look, Bernie Sanders should have won the nomination
Right.
in 2016 and 2020. You're not
Yeah.
telling me Hillary Clinton beat Bernie Sanders in the California primary. But yes,
Yeah.
they were rigged. They were completely rigged.
Mhm.
Nobody wanted Dole. Nobody wanted McCain. Nobody wanted Romney. Nobody wanted
No,
Reagan. It's just he
really.
was so charismatic that he could punch through the Republican Party machine. And they
Mhm.
saddled him with George H.W. Bush to
Yeah.
flex their power and to keep Reagan under control. And so you need someone with a name that everyone knows who can get his message out. And
Yeah.
Trump was uniquely that guy. No one else could punch through the noise the way Trump could. And now that he has, he's uniquely positioned as the kingmaker, which is why I have
Mhm.
hope. The Republican Party will not choose our next nominee. Donald Trump will.
Right. Right.
Now I just got to get in his ear.
I know. I know. I do think he is working on so many things behind the scenes. I'm sure he knows exactly who he's going to nominate and just, doesn't want to say it yet.
See, I don't.
You don't think so?
I think he has an impulsive streak, and he's
That's
very
true.
he's very susceptible to the last person I talk to is
Mhm.
always correct.
Yeah.
I think he's I don't want to be contradicting myself.
Uh-huh.
He does take in a lot of viewpoints.
Yeah.
But if there's ever been a politician who you cannot predict on micro things, it's Trump. On the macro things,
Yeah.
everything he's done, I completely predictable. Maybe
Yeah.
on the tactics, the political tactics that he used to get there, I'm completely shocked.
Yeah.
But if going against Iran, there's no surprise there. He said he's going to go against Iran since 2015.
Right. Right.
Who's surprised? He shut down the border. Are we surprised? He's deporting people. We're
Yeah.
shocked. He didn't cut spending. He never said he would.
Yeah.
He said he'd cut certain government programs, but he's
Right.
not a deficit hawk. He never was. You can be shocked by that.
Mhm.
You can be disappointed in Supreme Court picks. I am. But
Yeah.
he's never someone who said, look, I'm going to make sure that everyone I nominate is a clone of Clarence Thomas. He delegated it to the Federalist Society.
Yeah.
Not a bad group. Turns out to be the wrong group, but it wasn't a bad group. So
Yeah.
but to that point, I don't think he's made his decision. I think he also, one of Trump's great weaknesses and why he listens, in my opinion, too much to the tech bros
Uh-huh.
is he's all about winning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He wants them to fight and scrap, and that a winner emerges, and then he will crown the victor of the internal fight. He looks at tech
Yeah.
bro billionaires and go, well, you guys won at this. You must be really smart and really good and things like that.
Yeah.
It's a weakness of his.
Mhm.
But if you've made billions of dollars, you're good at something. It may be scamming, but you're
Right.
at least good at something. And so
Yeah.
I think Trump wants to see a battle among the would-be nominees, and then he'll come out and go, this guy's earned it.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. I'm gonna be looking for stuff like that. I mean, and I could see that because he does, Vance would be a great candidate. Hegseth is a great, or Rubio, but yeah, I mean, it does kind of, there's been rumors in the media that the two are getting pitted against each other and aren't getting along, which I don't think that's true, but in a ways they are kind of running against each other if
They
they
are.
want to run.
They're all ambitious men.
Hmm.
They didn't, they're all people who have scrapped and crawled to become politicians, unlike Trump, who
Yeah.
came into it late.
Yeah.
They all want to be president.
Yeah.
Hegseth desperately Vance wants to be president desperately.
Hmm.
Rubio, he's been running since he was 34 years old.
Yeah.
So they want it, and they realize that only one guy's going to get the nomination.
Hmm.
And so I think Vance is being one. I think he's peaking too early.
Hmm.
I think he's being a bit crass in it. You want to
Yeah.
get support of MAGA, you don't go on The View.
Right. Right.
Or if you go on The View, you don't agree and you're not all nice, you go to war.
Yeah.
And Joy Behar saying you'd be a great candidate is not an endorsement. It's an indictment.
Right. Right.
And, the whole autobiography to launch a presidential career, it's so establishment. It's so everything that I think the MAGA base hates about
Hmm.
politics. No one gives a shit about your autobiography, dude. No one cares.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to tell you about my sponsors quick. Sometimes I get on a roll cleaning or gardening, and I need a boost, but I don't have time for a meal. Big Fork Brand's pork jerky is the perfect choice to keep my momentum, offering high-protein snacks for on-the-go energy boosts. Not only do they offer pork jerky, but they also make pork sticks, bacon sausage, bacon hot dogs, and burger and hot dog sauces. Products come in a variety of delicious flavors, including Thai green curry and maple and brown sugar for the meat options, and gangster and Chicago fire for the sauces. I personally think the original flavor of the pork jerky hits just right after tackling a big chore. It's a little salty and very flavorful. My discount code gives you 20% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit bigforkbrands.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Are you looking for a gift for a music lover, or maybe some apparel to show off your quirky side? Old Glory has you covered. With over 300,000 officially licensed items covering music, sports, entertainment, and pop culture, you're guaranteed to find the perfect item. They even have seasonal gear. My husband enjoys the Led Zeppelin and Beatles apparel, and I love the Billy Idol apparel. I even found some items for my fellow plant enthusiasts. This family-owned superstore is known for their quality and customer service, offers free standard shipping on all orders, and orders are shipped the same day you purchase. My discount code gives you 15% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit oldglory.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Looking for a game-changing way to improve your health? Zevo Life is the world's most nutrient-dense whole plant, packed with over 50% plant protein, essential amino acids, fiber, and antioxidants. Harnessing the best nature has to offer, Zevo Life nourishes your body while driving your performance, vitality, and overall well-being. Each serving is a concentrated source of clean, well-balanced nutrition designed to support modern lifestyles, and just 1 teaspoon a day supports your gut, boosts energy, and promotes healthier skin and hair. It's no wonder it's receiving 5-star reviews. Step into a healthier future with a 30% discount and a 30-day risk-free guarantee by visiting zivo.life and using my promo code. To support my show and to receive 30% off your entire order, enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. What do you think about Scott Bessent?
I like him. I think, unfortunately, he falls into the nerd category.
Yeah.
I think I don't think he has any presidential aspirations whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
He's also got a schwarmy kind of scumbag quality to him, which I like when he's on my side.
Yeah.
He's flippant, sarcastic. He's not combative. He's got a passive aggressive thing.
Yeah.
And so I gotta hate this phrase. He's not presidential. I think he'd be a fantastic president.
Yeah.
I just don't think in the modern mold of a presidential candidate, he'd be particularly successful. I think he's self-aware enough
Mm-hmm.
that that's why he gets to enjoy his role so much of being
Right.
snarky. I'm
Yeah.
smarter than you. I'm better than you. I know it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to insult you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Hegseth's a lot more direct and combative.
Mm-hmm.
You shut
Yeah.
up. You're an idiot,
Yeah.
which is very Trumpian.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. And he does kind of, well, he doesn't go off like Trump on social media, but he does, kind of weigh in and yeah, you did a great point of pointing out kind of the difference between the tech bros and Hegseth. Just some different personality traits that they have. That oh, there was something else I was going to say about the tech bros, but anyways, it's like I feel like they could run a good social media campaign. They know what they need to do to get seen. But I do think that Hegseth is young enough that he's going to be able to hit the younger crowd as well.
There's a lot there. The question is whether his baggage overwhelms him. And I
Mhm.
think the way he has lived his life in the near history is he can put the baggage behind him. He's been
Yeah.
attacked hard already.
Yeah.
And he's an inked up scrapper who is an all-state football player and
Yeah.
basketball player. And again, for those, married white women,
Yeah.
you got some eye candy. You don't have to
Yep.
see old Trump every day.
Yeah. I do know women would vote for him just for that because they know he'd be on the TV all the time.
The only reason Gavin Newsom is in the conversation is because he's like
Jason Bateman. Or,
Jason Bateman. Yeah,
yeah.
Exactly. He's just got that. Hi, I'm a good looking guy and I'm going to murder you after our date. And some women are like,
totally see it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I've been such a naughty hooker.
Oh my gosh. I know my friend and I joke about being attracted to Dexter, who's, a fake serial killer. But anyways.
Yeah, at least he kills the right people.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Some folks need killing.
Yeah, that is true. Not that we're condoning violence, of course.
I condone violence. I'm an infantry officer.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a time and a place.
Yeah. And I think that the things that people might attack Hegseth on, like the things that are viewed as a flaw, like a mixed family, like the previous divorces or whatever. 50% of marriages end in divorce. So sometimes people see a perfect family and a perfect life and they don't trust it and they don't relate to it. So I think that some of those things that are seen as flaws can actually be a strength of his.
Well, okay, so this goes back to like the Jason Bateman over in California. This goes back to Bill and Hillary.
Uh-huh.
No one thinks they have a good marriage, either of them.
Right.
But, they've never been divorced. It must be a great marriage. No, it's a terrible marriage. Bill and Hillary both sleep with as many women as they can get their hands on.
Yeah.
And Bill was so Bill was a rapist when he was married. Is that an endorsement there? And I think Hegseth, even more so than Vance, can say, yeah, I did all these things because I could.
Right.
And I found the right woman. I found God. I'm a changed man.
Yeah.
And, I'm not who I was in my 30s. Who is?
Right.
But politically, he hasn't shifted an inch.
Yeah.
Which is the critical thing. He's the only guy who's unquestionably supported Trump since 2016.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to be watching for this. I'm going to be.
How do we get it out there, man? At least, I think the objective of this podcast is, can we get him on the couchy betting?
I should go in the comments and be like, well, I had to bet on Rubio because Hegseth wasn't an option.
Isn't there any room for sexy guys in the 2028 presidential nominee for Republicans?
Well, people are always complaining about, all of our choices are old people. It's like, well, support the younger one.
Well, so in this regard, Rubio, Vance, let's throw in Hegseth because I'm an optimist. That's a new generation.
Right. True. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Also, what do you think about Rand Paul? I just love it when he gets all bitchy and goes after Fauci, but I don't know
I
if
love
he's
that. I love that
presidential.
aspect of him.
Yeah.
Ron Paul is a little kooky.
Uh-huh.
Now, so here's the thing. I'm generally pro-Israel in my
Uh-huh.
podcast and whatnot. So his father, Ron Paul, is very anti-Israel. And
Mhm.
I get the anti-Israel thing. I did a podcast. I think Republicans and Democrats support and attack Israel for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of ignorance on the American-Israeli relationship historically.
Uh-huh.
And so I think the Republicans, the lines that they use for supporting them are, or I shouldn't say Republicans, those who support Israel, I
Mhm.
think use a lot of outdated boomer coded
Yeah.
words, which are not really accurate anymore. And I think the vehement haters of Israel are just using flat out lies to
Mhm.
justify their hatred. And the right and the left hate Israel for very different reasons.
Yeah.
And so I go into that. So Ron Paul hated Israel and Jews going way back. And he hated Jews, which is why he
Mhm.
hated Israel. Rand Paul did a better job of softening that.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Libertarian Party politics is just the other side of the communist coin. The
Mhm.
presumption of the goodness of mankind does not create a functioning government. You go into the John Locke, the whole point of government is to ensure that power is not consolidated in a small group.
Mhm.
And libertarians are like, well, I want a small government. Yeah, but you go about it in all the wrong ways. You want a small government, but you want open borders. So we'll open up
Yeah.
the borders first, then we'll get rid of welfare.
Yeah.
Doesn't work like that. Get rid of
Right.
welfare. They're very libertarian on stuff that is secondary.
Mhm.
And they're very, very liberal on. So they want they want to get rid of the welfare state, but that's always the last step. They want to
Yeah.
legalize drugs. They want to legalize destructive behavior. They want to open up the borders. They want to do all these things. And then we'll worry about government spending.
Right.
And
Right.
it just doesn't work. And ultimately, all libertarian politicians are hypocrites, because if you believe in any government, you're not truly a libertarian, because any government at any level is inevitably
Mhm.
an imposition onto others. It is a violation of the non-aggression principle, which is the foundation. Murray Rothbard is the best libertarian philosopher. And so back to Rand Paul,
Mhm.
calling him a libertarian, maybe he's always tried to wear that mantle. Thomas Massey the same way,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's disingenuous. It's not intellectually honest, because the Libertarian Party at the end of the day is an anarchistic.
Mhm.
You can't be an anarchist politician.
Right. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. That is true. There's an organization or a group here in Iowa that's trying to change the primaries so that it's like California or Alaska, where it's not you only get a Republican or only a Democrat ballot. And I've been trying to decide if like they've reached out a little bit, and I've been trying to decide if that's something that I want to do, because I don't know if it would be beneficial or not. It's like, okay, I would like all parties to have an equal chance, but I'm a Republican, and I don't want Republicans to have more competition, I guess.
Well, there's that.
But
And so, I mean, obviously the motivation is they want to dilute the vote.
mhm,
And politics is a messy thing where you can be
mhm.
as principled as you want to, but if you lose, you don't get to do anything. First
Yeah,
and foremost, you got to win.
right.
And anything which hurts your enemy and strengthens your position is good. And anything which weakens your position and helps your enemy is bad in politics.
Mhm,
You know,
right.
Democrats want mail in ballots because it's the best way for them to win.
Mhm.
And we won't get into why.
Yeah.
It's pretty intuitively obvious to the casual observer. But,
Yeah.
Republicans want one day of voting and strict voter ID. Now, which one
Mhm.
actually seems to believe in democracy would seem to be intuitive based upon their desire to protect it. But anyways, you do what helps you.
Yeah.
If
Right.
if mail-in ballots helped Republicans, I'd be like, hey, let's go do that.
Right.
But it
Right.
doesn't.
Yeah. Yep. It's Yeah, politics. I don't know. I love politics. It's like it makes you so mad, but I like the competition with it. It's it a lot of it seems pretty dirty, but it's like, hey, I guess that's our country, and you gotta try to fight for what's right, what's gonna do your country good. But,
That's why you got to have a fighter.
yeah. Yep.
Vance ain't that guy. Rubio ain't that guy. DeSantis, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe there's another name out there, but
We always need a vice president too. So,
do we? Do
I
we?
don't know. What do you think Hegseth and DeSantis a ticket like that?
I could get behind that.
Yeah.
Because I think the vice president is irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been watching The West Wing lately. Have you watched that? No,
I don't watch TV. I'll be that guy in Pulp Fiction. I don't watch TV. So.
Oh yeah, usually all I consume is political stuff. But once in a while, like to kind of take a mental health break, I'll watch.
That's not gonna do it. The West Wing is not the mental health break you think it is. This is terrible. I know. Speaking of glazing over the Clintons, Jesus. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, and it's funny how this show was made how long ago. And all of the same problems or issues that they're debating have happened during Trump's term. Like, there's just so much going on during Trump's term, but they were talking about getting rid of the penny, like tiny little things like that, like show up in West Wing. But who's that guy that I can't remember the actor's name, doesn't matter. He plays the vice president and he's only in a few episodes. Like he's never present. And I'm like, yeah, that kind of, you would think that he'd be in every episode because he's the vice president, but it just kind of reflects like for some vice presidents, you never see them.
They have no power.
Right.
I mean, their only role is as president of the Senate.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only, and that role only comes into account if there's a tie in the Senate.
Right.
It's just in case of glass, they are powerless.
Yeah.
And so the vice president exists to bring in votes during the general election.
Yeah.
Now, why they thought Tim Kaine or Waltz would be that guy, God only knows. We know, Kamala was chosen because the black vote in South Carolina is completely controlled by Rayburn.
Uh-huh.
And he told Biden, I'll give you the nomination for president, but you will pick a black woman for your vice president.
Yeah.
So he picked the least black woman, the least black woman he possibly could.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so I had heard that she wanted Josh Shapiro as her VP, but they're like, well, you can't have a Jewish person as your VP.
Oh, yeah, there's no way.
And then she also didn't want someone that was going to look better than her.
Boy, that's tough. Boy, you really got to stretch to, a kumquat stroganoff would outshine Kamala. So good job in picking Waltz.
Yeah.
I'm a knucklehead. I do stupid things.
Oh my gosh. What did he say? He put mayonnaise on tacos? Like, is that what he, just some of the dumbest stuff.
Yeah, he was, and like the same thing with, I think there's a certain arrogance in the Democrat Party where like, oh, we got a white guy, white men will vote for us now. I think the Graham Plattner thing is a great example. It's like, because, so this is, classic psychology, I should say, projection. I vote because it's a black woman.
Yeah.
So white men must do the same thing. They voted for Trump because he's a white guy. So if we just throw a white guy, we'll get more white guy voters.
Yeah.
I'm like, white guys don't vote like that.
No.
We're not swing voters.
Do you think he's going to drop out?
Plattner? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
There's only so many times the Nazi can rape a few girls before it eventually catches up with him.
Right. And it's interesting how much more proof there is that he did that than Trump, but
it's all bullshit and everyone knows it.
Yeah.
If you think he raped E. Jean Carroll 35 years ago, that's like one of my litmus tests of whether I'm dealing with someone who has a brain.
Yeah.
Do you think Trump raped E. Jean Carroll 35 years ago in a department store dressing room and she forgot about it for 30 years?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
really think that happened? Like,
Right.
well, New York, I didn't say what a New York City jury just said. What do you personally think? And
Right.
they go, well, yeah, I
Right.
think he did. I'm like, okay, well, I can't argue with you.
Oh, no, because it's
Yeah, you're an idiot. You can't
yeah.
was OJ Simpson guilty of murdering his wife?
Right.
Like,
Right.
if you're like, yeah, he was. Oh, okay.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
oh no, he was innocent. I'm like, okay, you're an idiot. I can't. There's
Yeah.
certain COVID. Did COVID come from bat soup or from a lab in China?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I will judge you on how you answer that question. It is absolutely an intelligence litmus test.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's no
So,
point in arguing with an idiot.
no,
So
at that point, you just are like, okay, well, we're good here.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're like, what? I don't. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, and you can because you can put all the evidence forth that you want to, and it's not going to sink in. It's just going to bounce right off. It's not.
Some people just hate. They have Trump derangement syndrome,
Yeah.
and whatever they say about Trump, they'll believe it because they
Yeah.
hate him. So I don't think Trump's a good person. Ergo, any accusation against him must be true because I don't like him.
Right.
Well,
right.
I still don't like Obama.
Right.
And the problem is, I believe almost all of the crazy conspiracy things about him. I think Michelle Obama's a man. I think he's from Kenya. I think he's gay. Joan Rivers did not die of a tragic plastic surgery accident. I'll tell you that right now.
Joan, that's so sad. Yeah.
They had to kill her.
That was brought up again recently, but I listened to Nancy Grace a lot, and she was friends with Joan Rivers, and every time she talks about her, I'm like, oh man, did the Obamas kill her?
Yes, they did. You don't kill someone for telling a lie. You kill them for telling the truth.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And the accusation that Obama's gay isn't even a stretch.
No, because
he wrote about that in his book. Like, I'm attracted to men, but I gotta keep it for the ladies because that's just what I need to do. It's like, do you think this is like how heterosexual men think? Like, we all secretly want it, but I guess we gotta stick with the women,
I was just reading about that, and I'm like, how did I not know about this before? But
because the media glazed him.
Yeah.
My Christian faith teaches me that marriage is between a man and a woman.
Yeah.
That was Barack Obama, 2008. Famous transphobe, homophobe, hater. They wanted to crucify the guy from Chick-fil-A over saying the exact same thing 2 years later. But everyone knew Obama was lying when he said it.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then everyone thinks that the first president to come into office being okay or in support of gay marriage was President Trump. Yet he's the anti-LGBTQ guy,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're going a little long, but I do want you to tell the audience a little bit more about what you cover on your podcast. And if you can just give us some quick insights on what you think is going on with Iran. I have a call she bet on when the Strait of Hormuz traffic is going to go back to normal. So any insight you have on that?
Well, you're going to get screwed on that one because there is no normal until the midterms.
Oh, I put no until
okay.
October.
Well, that's good. That's good. All right. Nice call. So my podcast, War 102 podcast. First off, it's not something that you like start from the latest episode and work backwards. You got to start from the beginning. So the first 20 or so episodes are simply the explanation of the doctrine and theory of warfare. I go into defining war, what is it? The levels of warfare as far as grand strategy, policy, strategy, operations, and tactics. I go into centers of gravity, Clausewitz, some of the more famous theorists, Sun Tzu, Jomini. I talk about air power, land power, sea power, space power, the space domain, things like that. I do some case studies to anchor the theory of war into real life examples. And then I delve more into the historical aspect, always tying it back to the doctrine and theory. That was the baseline. So like, if you could listen to anything, like they're 15 minutes. If you listen to like the first 10 to 20, and that'll give you a better foundation for understanding war than probably half the generals and admirals have already. And then I have episodes on different things. So you might want to just jump in and go, oh, I'm interested in learning about that. And then
Mhm.
listen to that podcast. So my personal areas of study were the Falklands Islands, the Arab-Israeli wars, and the Rhodesian Civil War, that conflict. So
Okay.
I talk a lot about that stuff in the first year as case
Mhm.
studies to understanding warfare. And then I go over famous historical books and famous historical battles going back to the Greeks, talking about Xenophon and Cyrus and Alexander, talking
Mm.
about 15 decisive battles, great captains in history. So it's a education on war, education I wish I had had as an Army officer. And
Yeah.
so I'm up to 100 hours, or excuse me, 115 episodes, about
Okay.
15 minutes each. So 40 hours.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, literally it'd be like one semester. In the past 2 years, you
Yeah.
could get about one semester of learning about war, but it's a really
Nice.
good semester.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish students knew more about it. I wish the American people knew more about it. I wish our generals and our politicians knew more about it. So anyways, that's the whole idea behind my podcast.
Yeah.
And what was the other question?
What do you think? Do you
Oh,
think
oh.
this with Iran? What do you think is going to
So
happen?
this is why I talk about the levels of war: grand strategy, policy strategy, operations
Mhm.
and tactics. They're all nested. And grand strategy is that multi, almost generational long objectives. What is
Mhm.
the grand strategy of the Iranian, um, the Islamic Revolutionary
Mhm.
Government of Iran, or whatever they call themselves? And it's to destroy America and to lead the Ummah, the Muslim nation, to ascendancy worldwide. And they have to destroy what they call the great state in the United States.
Uh-huh.
And so my first episode was, what is war? And war is a struggle between sovereign entities, i.e., not
Mhm.
proxies, not subordinate to anything, for mutually exclusive objectives. It's a zero sum game. War has to be a zero sum game. And the destruction of America and the flourishing of America are mutually exclusive. There is no reconciliation with the Iranian government. There can
Right.
be short-term peace treaties and things like that, but Iran wants to destroy America. They're not kidding. And this is one
Right.
of Trump's weaknesses is, well, I think he believes in God in a general sense. He's not a man of deep faith.
Right.
He
Yeah.
cannot comprehend that, no, they really think the United States needs to be destroyed. They
Right.
absolutely believe it with the fervor of a true believing Christian, believing in the resurrection of Christ. It's
Mhm.
that basic for them. They will never abandon their overarching grand strategy objective of the destruction of the United States. They'll adjust their tactics and their operations and their strategies based
Uh-huh.
upon the circumstances on the ground to benefit them. Because first and foremost, they have to stay in charge of Iran in order to achieve this objective, but that'll always be their objective.
Yeah.
And they're trying to gain leadership of the Ummah. And as Shiites, that's a difficult position when 80% of all Muslims are Sunnis.
Mhm.
And so their means to gain control of the Ummah is by fighting and antagonizing the great Satan in America.
Uh-huh.
And so that's why we go through, I call them the humiliation rituals. As soon as they get anything from America, that doesn't make them more acquiescent to American and policy objectives. It makes them even more antagonistic. They pray for the death of America,
Yeah.
and specifically the death of Trump. And Trump
Yeah.
just gave them something. Obviously, we're winning, so let's keep doing it
Yeah.
because we'll get even more. And Trump doesn't think in that. He's a businessman. He never goes into a negotiation thinking someone's going to win and someone's going to lose.
Mhm.
We're both going to do well, and I will always do better.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't get that. And I think that hurts
Yeah.
him in Gaza and Lebanon. And they're all the same conflict. They're all Iranian proxies.
Yeah.
And so the Iranians love the humiliation ritual of Trump. They love getting him to say, oh, Iran's a great partner and all that. And then Iran just pokes him right in the eye. And they've done this. They did this in 1979. Carter abandons the Shah and then they take Americans hostage. Why?
Mhm.
Because they can. Because we got
Yeah.
what we wanted, so let's get more. They did it in 1996. Hezbollah did it in 2000 when Israel pulled out. Hamas does it all the time. They get a ceasefire and they're going to attack the next day.
Yeah.
show, oh, well, we don't do what you say. And then they expect America to keep Israel under control. Just Trump doesn't understand him. It's his greatest weakness. I think he's getting the idea that this is where Trump's ego works in our favor,
Yeah.
in that you're insulting the man.
Right.
Trump does not like to be insulted.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
He's not this milquetoast Obama or Clinton who's just going to, or even Bush, like, well, yeah, okay, sure, you killed some Americans, but the peace treaty is like, no, you're going to insult me personally, I will crush you just because of my ego.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Yeah. No, I agree. I feel like it's a delicate balance of he wants to make a deal versus he doesn't want them to let him look stupid. And I almost think that's why Bridge and Power Plant Day has not, come yet. But, they had the funeral where they were of Khomeini finally, and they were chanting "Death to America," and it's just like, if we could just bomb them right now and just take them all out, like
if we were as bad as people said, we would have bombed that funeral.
Yeah,
we would have carpet bombed them.
Yeah,
but we didn't, because we're not that bad. And Trump, in his credit, wants to say, in all honesty, I did everything I could to avoid war. He wants to be known as a peacemaker.
Yeah.
And, in Cool Hand Luke, you just can't reach some people.
Yeah.
The Iranians don't want peace. They want war. They want strife and conflict. It's part of their policy and their grand strategy.
Mm-hmm.
The Iranian government ceases to exist if it stops fighting America.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think there's other people that could come to power instead of the IRGC that would solve those issues?
Other people, yes. Is there enough combat power in Iran to make it happen? No.
Yeah, that's too bad.
They've consolidated. So the best thing is, they call it mowing the grass. You bomb them every now and then, you strangle them. But, here's the thing. Eventually, the Soviet Union collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
And Iran's weird. We like to equate it to Arab. A lot of Iranians see Islam as an Arab religion. And they still kind of hold fast to the Zoroastrian tradition.
Yeah.
So I think you want to separate the people, obviously, from the government. And I think one of the ways to do it is highlight the Arabic nature of the Iranian government, even if they're not ethnically Arabs.
Mm-hmm.
And because the heart of Shia Islam is not in Iran, it's in Iraq. Basra and the imams of the Twelvers, they're the heart of Shia Islam is all located in Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
So there is an opportunity, I think, to drive a wedge between the fundamentalist Shias and the more secular Zoroastrian heritage of Iran. But that would be almost a generational talking point, which would require constant pressure. And the fact is, Iran hates America, and there are significant political entities in the United States who also hate America, who see Iran as an ally in their quest to just weaken and then ultimately destroy America. We call these the Democratic Socialists of America, who are on the ascendancy.
Yeah. Yes, that's also scary. Somehow they get voted in, but
do they though?
Right.
That's the whole point of the SAVE Act.
I know.
Are they really? We don't even know.
Oh my gosh. I was very upset about the LA mayoral race, and my coworker's like, how much money did you put on this? I'm like, it was $5. That's not the point. It's not the point that Spencer Pratt won.
Even if he didn't win, he was at least legitimately second. They just clearly stole that election just so they wouldn't have to spend money on the race.
Yeah. And I mean, to me, the statistics alone, if you look at the votes that were coming in for Bass, and then the ballots that were dropped were all for Rahman and none for Pratt or Bass, that's not statistically possible. So that's all the evidence I need.
If you're cheating.
Right.
Which is, I'm absolutely convinced 2020 was stolen as well in the same way.
Yeah. Yes. And I keep having people on the opposite side. Like, I noticed that the terminology is changing. Like, it was clear that it was stolen, but now people are saying, oh, well, it was stolen through ballot harvesting, which isn't illegal, and it's like, that's not what happened. But
no, it was just, they just manufactured ballots out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And they harvested false ballots, shoved them in, and dared anyone to do anything. And the Supreme Court refused to hear the case because John Roberts is just another Bush appointee communist.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I'm glad that there are still people out there that haven't shifted to, oh, well, they won by ballot harvesting.
No. And the thing is, it raises a very uncomfortable question. If you genuinely believe the election was stolen, what do you do?
Right.
It raises some real 1776 type questions.
Yeah.
And what do? You vote harder. You try to get the SAVE Act. You try within the system as best you can to. And what's funny is the Democrats are like, oh, you can't say that. I'm like, you said that about Bush. You said that about Trump in 2016. You said all those elections were stolen. Well, but okay. So saying an election is stolen is nothing new for you clowns.
Right.
You're just upset that we're accusing you of it and we have far better evidence.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And all that Russia collusion crap is turning out to be.
And Schiff, who was a congressman, was rewarded with a Senate seat. Yeah. Schiff lied through his teeth constantly in the House. And then they reward him with a Senate seat. Yeah, whatever.
It's great. Sarcastic, obviously. All right. Where can everybody find you?
Best place to find me, War 102 Podcast. You can contact me there. War102podcast at Gmail is an email account. I'll get to it. I don't get a whole lot of email. And check out, please, realplasticheroes.com for good toys for your kids, tactile, old school, original, and all for a good cause. The profits go to veteran causes. The 8 veterans involved, we all get to choose one. I chose suicide prevention for various reasons. And check it out. It's a cool toy.
Perfect. Sounds good. I will include all that in the show notes. And I want to thank you for being here today. So
my pleasure. Thanks for sharing your audience. It's been a great time. Thank you.